This is time sensitive, not because there's a deadline this week, but because this decision, Social Security timing for married couples, is one of the most consequential, irreversible choices a household makes in retirement. And most married couples are treating it like a solo decision. One number, one age, done. That's not a strategy. That's a coin flip with lifetime consequences. And I think you deserve the full story. So here it is. I'm recording this video right now because this topic is quietly costing retirees real money. Comment where you're watching from so I can see how far these videos travel. And real quick, if you value calm numbers first retirement breakdowns like this, do me a favor, subscribe and comment Retirement Risk Watch so the algorithm knows you want more of this. Now, in case you haven't seen what I'm talking about, here's the claim making the rounds. Both spouses should delay to 70. Claim early because you might not make it. They're basically the same decision, and on the surface it sounds airtight. But when you slow it down piece by piece and you look at survivor benefits, age gaps, and sequence risk during the delay window, you realize the reality is more nuanced. That's clean. It's also incomplete. So I'm going to break down three things. First, why married couple Social Security is a completely different problem than single claiming. Second, the survivor benefit angle that most people ignore until it's too late. And third, a simple coordination framework you can write down that actually fits how two-income households work. So, let's start with what we can verify in plain English. In a household with two Social Security benefits, you don't have one decision. You have at least two decisions with interconnected consequences. And the two decisions are not equal. One of them, typically the higher earner's decision, has survivor implications that can affect one spouse's income for potentially decades. Here's the clean way to think about it. When one spouse passes, the surviving spouse in most cases keeps one benefit, the larger one, and the smaller one goes away. That single fact changes the entire claiming optimization. Because when you think about it from a survivor standpoint, the question becomes, what is the income floor for the surviving spouse? And how do we protect it? Now, this is where most people miss the strategy. They think about Social Security as what's best for us now as a couple. But the more important question is, what's best for the survivor? The person who will be left with one income stream instead of two. Here's a question for you. If you're married, do you have a plan specifically for what happens to your household income if one spouse passes first? Comment yes, we have a plan, or no, we haven't thought about it. Because that question determines whether your Social Security strategy is complete. Okay. Now here's where it gets interesting. The higher earner's benefit is the one that survives. So if the higher earner delays claiming to a later age, two things happen. One, the higher earner's own benefit is larger. Two, the potential survivor benefit is larger. This means the higher earner's delay is not just about maximizing their lifetime benefit. It's about providing a larger income floor for whoever lives longer. Now, the lower earner's claiming decision is often more flexible, because the lower earner's benefit goes away at the first death if it's the smaller of the two. So the lower earner can often claim earlier to provide household cash flow during the delay window, while the higher earner waits to maximize the benefit that will likely outlive one spouse. This is the coordination strategy. Not both delay or both claim early. Coordinate around the survivor outcome. Now, here's where sequence risk intersects. During the delay window, the years before the higher earner claims, the household needs cash flow, and that usually comes from the portfolio. So the question becomes, can the portfolio handle that bridge period without sequence risk damage? If markets drop during the delay window and the portfolio is the only income source, you might be selling depressed assets to fund life while waiting for a bigger Social Security check later. That can be a bad trade depending on the market environment and the portfolio's health. So the coordination strategy also has to include what is the cash flow plan during the delay window? Options include the lower earner claims earlier to provide cash flow. The portfolio has sufficient runway to fund the gap without forced selling. Spending is adjusted during the delay window to reduce portfolio pressure. You pick the combination that fits your household. Now, here's the skeptical alternative. Someone will say, what if the higher earner doesn't live long enough to benefit from delaying? That's plausible. Here's how that analysis changes. Even if the higher earner passes early, the survivor benefit, funded by the higher earner's delay, provides a larger income floor for the surviving spouse, potentially for decades. So delaying for the survivor can still be rational even if the higher earner themselves doesn't collect for long. This is the part people miss. They run the break-even math for the individual. They forget to run the household math. So what does this actually mean for you? It means you need a household claiming strategy, not two individual strategies. Here's a simple action plan. No drama. Step 1. Identify the higher earner and the lower earner. That's your starting point. Step 2. Estimate both benefits at different claiming ages. You don't need exact numbers. Relative sizes and timing are what matter for this exercise. Step 3. Build the survivor income floor. What does the household income look like if one spouse passes at different ages? What's the minimum the survivor would receive? Is that enough to cover essential spending? Write it down. Decide X first, then Y. Now let me give you a couple of scenarios to make this concrete without using exact numbers. Scenario 1. Big age gap between spouses. If one spouse is significantly older, the younger spouse has a much longer potential survivor period. Maximizing the survivor benefit by having the higher earner delay can provide the younger spouse with a larger income floor for potentially 20 or more years. In this case, the survivor angle is extremely powerful. Scenario 2. Similar ages, similar benefits. If both spouses are close in age and have similar benefit sizes, the survivor impact is smaller. The coordination strategy is less about survivor protection and more about cash flow timing and tax efficiency. Scenario 3. One spouse has health concerns. If the higher earner has health concerns that affect longevity expectations, the calculus shifts. Delaying the higher earner's benefit might not maximize household outcomes, and the lower earner's benefit, which would normally go away, might need to be maximized differently. There is no one-size slogan. There is context. Now, let's map 3 plausible paths without pretending we can predict the exact market. Path 1. Both spouses live long. In this world, a coordinated delay strategy for the higher earner tends to produce strong lifetime household income. The survivor protection pays off. Path 2. One spouse passes unexpectedly early. In this world, the survivor benefit decision matters most. If the higher earner delayed and built a bigger benefit, the surviving spouse has a larger income floor. If the higher earner claimed early, the survivor floor is lower. Optional Path 3. Markets drop during the delay window. In this world, the cash flow plan for the delay period is critical. If the household has a runway and the lower earner is providing some benefit income, the plan can bridge without portfolio damage. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Married couples underestimate longevity risk because they think about their own life expectancy. But the right question is joint longevity. What's the probability that at least one of us lives to 90 or beyond? That probability is significantly higher than most people assume. And that longer-lived spouse needs a sustainable income floor that doesn't depend on the market being cooperative in their 80s. That is the job of a well-coordinated Social Security claiming strategy. Here are the rules I use, and you can steal them. 1. Decide your maximum withdrawal guardrail first. Write it down. If you're losing sleep, you're pulling too hard, or you're invested too aggressive. 2. When markets run hard and you're up a lot, refill your cash runway. Not forever, just enough to buy you time. 3. Don't confuse income with safety. A high yield is not a safety guarantee. 4. The best time to make a retirement decision isn't when you're scared or hyped. It's when you can still breathe and do the math. So here's what we covered. Married Social Security is a household decision, not two individual decisions. The higher earner's delay maximizes both their own benefit and the potential survivor benefit. The coordination strategy involves the lower earner's timing, the cash flow plan during the delay window, and the survivor income floor. The real risk isn't just the market. It's timing, taxes, and behavior. So if you're married and haven't had the survivor conversation, have it now. Before the decision is made. Before it's irreversible. Now, here are my questions for you. First, is there a meaningful age gap between you and your spouse? Comment big gap or similar age. Second, has the survivor income floor been part of your Social Security conversation, yes or no? Comment yes or not yet. If you got value out of this, subscribe and comment Retirement Risk Watch so I know you want to follow up when the next update hits. And if this helped you, share it with someone who's trying to retire without making expensive mistakes. All right, take care of yourself, stay sharp, and I'll talk to you soon. And just so we're crystal clear, this is educational content and commentary. It's my take based on publicly discussed information and my own reasoning, and it's not personal financial advice. I'm not your advisor. I don't know your goals or your risk tolerance. And I could be wrong. Do your own homework. Consider your situation. And if you need personal advice, get it from a qualified professional who knows your situation.